You're listening to U Radio. Let your voice be heard. My name is Ryan Funk. You're on U Talk, a program dedicated to diversity, highlighting native-born and new Canadians' cultures and experiences. Taiwo Luro is a huge proprietor of technology and believes if you don't get on board with it, you'll fall behind. A career consultant, e-learning specialist, Taiwo has applied his personal and professional experiences to help newcomers to find and succeed in their careers.
Exactly 7 years ago, I made a change in my career to move to a new country, and it's been a roller coaster of emotions having to reach this decision at this point in my life, in my career life. Coming to Canada has provided a lot of positive opportunities, but I'll fast track to what I currently do. My role is e-learning specialist for Manitoba Start. Manitoba Start is the first place where newcomers find the support they need to find work in Manitoba. Prior to that, I was supervisor for the career services unit, and I was also a career coach and facilitator. So essentially, all of the work that I've done has moved from a bit of adult education, career advising, and just providing those supports that newcomers need to transition into employment in Manitoba. As a newcomer myself, my experiences, my knowledge, and my learning over the years has influenced my practice and experience. And I can bring in that professional perspective. I can bring in that cultural perspective. I can share experiences, that's not going to be far from what other newcomers also go through on a daily basis. And I think all of this put together has been able to, help me in providing those supports for the clients that I've been working with in the last 7 years.
What are your recommendations for newcomers, maybe even based off of your own experiences, for finding employment in Canada and getting started?
So I will say that the labor market in Canada can be very confusing to navigate for many newcomers. So I think being able to walk through that process allows for a very smooth transition into the job market. The first thing that I want to offer as an advice is that, for every newcomer out there, start with a plan. I see people every day within my community, within my professional life, who say, you know what, I want a job. I just have to pay my bills. I have to get busy. But what does that really mean in terms of an actual work, in terms of an actual industry or sector or position? And you see, if you don't create a plan for what you want to do on the short term, medium term, and long term, then you are not able to stay focused on an occupational area that you'll be able to grow in. So I want to encourage every newcomer out there that reads this or listens to this to begin with a plan. What work do I want to do? What industry or sector? And how do I want to grow in this area? The second point is that Manitoba is unique among all the provinces and territories because we have support systems like no other province in Canada. And that is something that I really feel proud about, even in my practice and community life. We have abundant support services within the community for newcomers. So locating and embracing those support services will help you to quickly find employment and integrate into the fabrics of Canadian society. So if you look at our organization, for instance, we provide career development support, and clients who come through Manitoba Start to access services, they fast track into the market. If we compare them apple for other clients who don't access services. There are language training services within the community that are available and accessible for newcomers for free. There are technology training programs, self-learning initiatives. There are other newcomers like ourselves who have become voices within the community who can share, some of the ideas and challenges we face. So that kind of fast tracks things for everyone to be able to navigate the system as quickly as possible. What else can I talk about? You can't have enough of education. My father tells me each time, there's no knowledge that is lost.
Of course.
And so one great way to quickly establish and launch your career in Canada is just to upskill. take a training, take a course,
Mhm.
attend a professional development event. What else can I talk about? Just find ways to upgrade your skills. We already coming from abroad already prepares you with the foundational skills and experiences you need for
Mhm.
success. It's like having a cake, and now all you need to do is just put the icing on the cake. So that upskilling, that extra training is really the icing you need to make your cake beautiful.
Mhm.
So again, looking for opportunities to upskill, and then finally, I will say engage, connect with your community. Find opportunities to build connections, because when people move to a new country, they leave their connections, they leave their entire community behind. It can provide a very isolated feeling.
Mhm.
So finding ways to belong to a community, religious communities, social groups, educational groups, professional communities. Those are some of the factors, that can help you to just hit the ground running.
Mhm. You're also an e-learning specialist. I guess let's talk a little bit about the challenges that e-learning brings in, and the benefits, because right now in a pandemic, that's the only way to learn.
When COVID hit in March, it provided very unique opportunities for everybody: learners, educators, post-secondary, literally everybody. We see a lot of programs and services moving into remote delivery. One of the big advantages of the face-to-face learning is that it provides for that in-person connection. So as an example, I do a lot of facilitation, and when I facilitate workshops, we can connect directly with the group of clients that we have. They can ask questions, and they can feel the onus is on the presenter to make all those connections happen, right? But in a face-to-face, it's not the same. Most of the learning is self-directed in a face-to-face environment, and then you have to be self-directed in your approach. You have to be ready to do independent work where the facilitator is not there. For many newcomers, that might be something that is different, but it's not impossible. It's just quickly adapting into the new environment. One of the things that I wanted to talk about again is actually the learning space in itself. Um, if you're in a face-to-face learning environment, it's different in the format that the facilitator creates the space, ensures that the space is ready, the space is safe and conducive for learning. There is that positive, air within the room. But in an online delivery, the onus is now on the learner to create that space. So think about a newcomer who comes to Canada with 4 children, lives in a very small 2-bedroom unit, and they have to create a convenient space for them to be able to take their programs and services. If the children are not yet engaged in schoolwork, that poses a challenge to have that quiet, safe, quiet environment for learning. So that's something to that I think people can think about. Again, learning in a face-to-face environment provides for that
Mhm.
community of learners. You belong to a group of 12, 15 people. That's your first network
Mhm.
to start with,
Of
right?
course.
So you feel that connection. You feel like you belong to a group. In the online environment, although we can replicate that through some live
Mhm.
sessions, the feeling is not the same, because now you can't exchange contacts. You can't talk about some personal issues that are affecting you. You can't talk about what this person is doing about their settlement, or what that person is not
Mhm.
doing. So we see that is a little bit restricted and out of the scope. So that can also be a challenge. And I think that it's just a game changer for everybody at this time. But like I said,
Mhm.
adaptability is the key thing. Even if this is happening to you at the initial time, just quickly walk around it, and it's the way to go for the future.
Mhm. You talk about adaptability. Is that something that you learned, through your personal journey from Nigeria coming over to Canada?
I wanted to say that growing up, I had very humble
Mhm.
experiences, and you have to live through life building a lot of resilience, adapting to multiple circumstances, and living through everyday challenges. And that's been a part of me. That's the reason for, for all the successes that I've achieved in life. So there are periods when you be out of money. There are periods when you're not sure what the next direction is. There are periods when life circumstances will provide opportunities and challenges. And so I had going through all of these experiences have has helped me to become a lot very resilient, to become a lot very adaptable, to take things and have a quick turnaround within a short time. And so when I look at everything that I have done in 7 years living in Canada, I just, I'm really thankful that all of these changes can come. It's a part of, what you grow up with, all of the challenging times you've lived through, all of those periods when you live through difficult circumstances, and you still find ways to navigate them to get to your goal, right? And so as an example, if I come into Canada and I have a $20,000 as an example, okay, and my rent is very expensive. In another 6 months, it's very unlikely that I won't have spent a lot of this money on rent, purchasing a vehicle, family needs, etc. But what happens to a newcomer who goes out without money? Your ability to quickly, create and initiate a budget system that helps you to take care of all of your anticipated expenses, knowing that you might run out of cash and you're so much on your own, 500 or 6,000 nautical miles away from wherever you call your home country. So putting all those buffers in place and knowing that, right now you're on your own, you have to adapt to the situation, adapt to the conditions, adapt to the labor market, adjust to weather conditions, navigate the market, put yourself out there, face your struggle essentially. So I think, it's a part of growing up. It's a part of what forms your value systems and helps you project and shape your future.
So when you're coming to a new country, you're learning, you're going through these experiences, you're adapting, you're changing. How do you stay connected to your roots and culture, even for yourself personally and for people that you're talking to? I mean, you can be busy and sometimes you can forget where you came from or what's important to you.
Many newcomers, when they come to Canada, they leave everything behind. They leave their community, they leave their associations, they leave their network. And I think around the world, I can say specifically that culture is everywhere and community is everywhere. So when I came into Canada, there are people who live in Canada. The way of life might be slightly different. Value systems might be different, but culture is culture everywhere, and culture is everything. As an example, the way I'm dressing is a reflection of my culture. The way I make my hair, my value systems, considerations of what I think is right or wrong. One way to stay connected with your culture is to look for a related organization. There are professional associations. There's the Nigerian Professionals in Manitoba. I attend their events once in a while just to stay connected with that community. There are religious associations to which we attend as a family. We attend social gatherings. Talking about other cultural elements. In the home, I speak other languages with my kids just to get them connected, to get them involved in understanding what that background is. So joining associations, community groups, social groups, even professional associations within the context of your cultural background, that's one piece. And I think the bigger piece also is building connections with the larger society, because you have to integrate with the mainstream Canadian culture. You have to find out what's important, what's right, what's valuable, and why those really are. And so it's not really getting rid of your culture, but it's just really about learning and unlearning and, building on new cultural artifacts and, increasing through that process, increasing your cultural lens and, getting exposed to, all of those different broader cultures within the mainstream society. In my experience, I find that it takes time for transitions to happen. in the workplace. When a newcomer comes to Canada today, ask them what they want to do. They said, I want to work. When do you want to work? I want to work like yesterday. I want to work even before I landed, if you see what I mean. And the factors are very clear. You know, it's expensive to live in a place like Canada. You know, as an example, I used to joke with my clients, say, you know, the amount of money I pay for my rent per month is what I pay for 1 year before I moved to Canada. So that can be a big change, even if you have a lot of money in your pocket. So it's important as you come in, as you're immigrating, as you're stepping your foot into Canada, have a clear plan what you want to do and begin to build connections within industry, within your professional level, right from the get-go. That is critical. That is important. The other thing that I wanted to say is, aside from having a clear plan of what you want to do, now you need to look out there. Where are the support systems that I have, and how can I build on those support systems so that I can consolidate? As an example, when I came to Canada, I didn't know Manitoba Stat. And so having worked with this organization for 5 years, I'm like, my career would have been propelled way faster if I've engaged with some of these community groups and service providers and taking these free benefits that the government provides. And finally, I'd like to say anything is possible. It's doable. Put your mind to it, get ready to do it, and you will achieve success.
As an adult educator, Taiwo engages with, facilitates, trains, coaches, and achieves knowledge transfers within the post-secondary system by adopting conventional adult learning principles and instructional engagement strategies during learning delivery. If you have any stories you'd like us to share or communities we should highlight, leave a comment on our social media or reach out to us on our website. I'm Ryan Funk. This was U Talk, and have yourself a good one.